The Investigator's Toolbox is here. Are you a licensed investigator, an investigative or security professional? How would you like to gain work-based skills, be more productive, and grow your business? Well, welcome to the investigatorstoolbox.com. Check out this industry-changing website that's pioneering into the future today. You can network with other investigators in our forums. You can take a webinar, check out a blog, or read an article to brush up on your skills. You can visit our vast resource catalog of research websites and bookmark them in your own private library. Everybody's talking about the Investigator's Toolbox. This really is the future of networking, learning, and resource management. Check this out. For a limited time, we're offering a legacy discount for new members. If you sign up early, we'll save you 25%. Take advantage of exclusive discounts from site partners like Crosstracks, DelphPoint, PI Magazine, Hetherington Group, Scope Now, Parabon, and so many more. Just visit the website investigators-toolbox.com and check out the demo video in the Who We Are section. Can you afford 41 cents a day? If the answer is yes, then don't delay. Join the community. investigatorstoolbox.com. These discounts won't last. That's www.investigators-toolbox.com. Welcome to this week's podcast. Today, we welcome executive protection expert and marketing master Byron Rodgers. Byron, a former Marine, has built a great business in the executive protection space and has a great training program. He's also the host of two very successful podcast programs. Podcast Worlds Collide again for this great episode. So please welcome Byron Rodgers and your host, private investigator Matt Spaier.
And welcome everybody to the next episode of PI Perspectives. This is Matt Spaier, your host. Today I am super excited. I've got somebody from the West Coast, somebody I've been trying to get for a while. I've kind of been stalking him a little bit just because I think he's an awesome dude, and what he's doing is pretty amazing. And I wanted to bring that to my community and introduce him. So today we are talking to Byron Rodgers. Byron, how you doing? Boom! There you go. Right, he's the boom guy. That's great, man. How are you?
Yeah, man. It's an honor to be here. I'm doing really good, man. It's an honor to be able to try to make the contributions I'm trying to make, and to have people like yourself reach out and see me as worthy to share your demographic and share your work with, man. Right. So I'm feeling good, doing good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I don't even know what to say, like what you do, because you do like 100 different things. So we're going to cover a couple of them today.
Awesome. It's a quality problem I've been finding when I get introduced, and they're like, just tell us what you do. And I'm like, whatever it takes.
Do you have 10 minutes?
The quickest. Yeah, exactly. How much time you got, buddy? Anyways, yeah, man. It's awesome to be able to execute a lot of stuff. Man.
Yeah. No, it's great. And really, executive protection is your main deal, right? You are a former Marine, so first of all, thank you for serving this country. Thank you for highlighting the other people that serve on your show. I think that's amazing. Keeping each other together and doing stuff for your people that you serve with, I think is amazing. So,
Thank you.
You did 2 tours, right? 2 tours in Iraq, I think?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so
2 tours to Iraq.
Thank you for that.
Came back by the grace of God.
Right. So let's talk about that, right? So you come home, and how do you decide to do what you're doing? How'd you get into it?
Man, that's really interesting. Of course, I get back and I go through my little adjustment period, right? Which, I guess you find in that book, Finding Meaning After the Military. Went through my dark that I wrote, right? Went through my dark times, went through my struggles, right? And then after getting not even well adjusted, the funny thing about coming back is I didn't realize I was struggling. I was just ultra functional. So because I was so functional, I didn't realize that I did still have some, some things I was dealing with around, like dopamine and really adrenaline seeking type behaviors, which I still deal with, but I work out.
Right.
So, I found effective coping mechanisms for those things. How I decided is I was faced with a dilemma that so many veterans are faced with, which is, what am I going to do with my life? And how can I make meaning out of what's happened? And how can I give enough value so that the world will reciprocate to me a life that I can be proud of and that I can provide for myself and my family members, right?
Sure.
So I'm like, well, I'm gonna be a cop or I'm gonna be a contractor,
Right.
I know how to hold a gun for somebody. It's what I know how to do. So I guess those are my two options. And
Right.
but I also have a very strong relationship with Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, and
Amen.
He's guided me. My life, Holy Spirit's always guided me, and I got told, "Hey, go be a bouncer at this bar, and you're going to become a bodyguard and travel the world." And I went to this bar. I became a bouncer,
Right.
and within 3 months, gentleman looked at me and said, "Have him do it." And I said, "Have me do what, sir?" And he said, "Go and get these." He asked me a series of questions, told me to get these permits, give him a call back in 2 weeks. He'll show me how to make a lot more money doing what I'm doing. And I always say, like, I didn't choose this game. The game chose me.
Right,
and like,
right.
that was kind of the reality I lived. I blink. I'm doing an interview on Rodeo Drive in the back of a Bentley with my first client. And we hit 60 some odd countries within the first year and some change. It was like learning how to drink out of a fire hose growing up in dog years in the industry. Only made it because of grace of God and mentors. And now here I am.
No, that's good, man. So listen, I'm of the same inkling, right? So to me, it's the whole thing about my faith. It's really bona fide. Like I started my business and I was in the process of failing my business. I'm going to go, off script here a little bit. I don't know if folks want to hear about it, but I don't care. So for me, I started tithing. As soon as I started tithing, like the proper amount I was supposed to tithe, my business took off, bro. And it's just amazing. And it's not a coincidence, right? So
no, it's not.
Yeah. So something your listeners don't know about me and my listeners may not know about me. Some do actually. Yeah. I play on my worship team. So I play bass guitar. So
nice.
That's kind of my gig, right? That's how I keep cool, from killing people.
Yeah.
I play music.
That's the game. You got to find an outlet.
Yeah.
And for me, the same, I'm big on that, man. Like that's respect with the first few fruits.
Sure.
And I find that, a lot of these things people think are just rules. They're more like principles that you can leverage in life that work, that get you results. And when you honor those principles, you live a much higher quality life. And it's not about like, do the right thing, do the wrong thing. It's like, nah, man, there's gravity. That's a principle. You do certain things, you jump out of a plane, you're going to hit the ground. Like these are principles. And I found that one to be extremely powerful in my life as well, man.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah. I mean, and like the crazy, creepy stuff that we do. And I've heard it before, with other investigators that I know have Christian faith. And they're like, isn't that weird? Like you being an investigator, like, isn't there like a conflict of interest? It's like, no, man, if you want to be in that world, you want to be the salt and the light to others. You need to be in that world. It's cool stuff. So, okay, we should probably go ahead. Go ahead. I know. I want to get us back on track.
I was talking about this today on my IG, man, and I was just like, we need to be strong, and we need to be formidable, and we need to be warriors. And God uses warriors all throughout the Bible, and the reason being is that when He needs to get something done on the planet, He sends a man. It's all throughout the book. And the reality of this game is what happens down here, because people are always like, well, how is there a God if there's bad things happening? What happens down here has everything to do with what we do as humans down here. That's why there's a body down here. So us as warriors and us as men who are fighting in these battles, it's our job to bring light into the darkness, even if it is by bringing justice or setting up a rampart of protection. It's our job to do that and make the world a better and safer place. So it's an honor to be able to do these things. And I think that the light and positivity on the planet needs willing, capable, prepared men like us to do
absolutely. And I think like another show, not today, because I want to cover a couple of different things, but I'd love to have you on again at some point and talk about doing security for houses of worship, because I noticed that you on your resume you actually do that as well. And I think that's a really important topic to cover, but we'll get that another time.
Solid.
Today I wanted to talk about the I guess you could best describe it as the private investigator and the executive protection specialist, how they can coexist and live together, and at what point do they need to work together to get the best results. And since I think you're one of the guys that's at the top of the game here, I thought it'd be a great conversation. Hence the reason my stalking. I apologize about that. But yeah, you got to do what you got to do. And
I'm just glad you didn't get turned off by anything while you were stalking.
No,
I can be controversial at times.
Yeah, no, it's good, man.
Sometimes I pop my head up.
I know your heart is good. And, just the discussions you've had with, the guys that you've had on, I was like, I don't do EP, but man, this is really good, man. This is life lessons here and business lessons. There's a lot of good knowledge. If folks don't listen to the show, that's the Executive Protection Lifestyle is the one that's geared towards, that aspect of it. And then you have another one called the Protector Podcast, which is something more along the lines for the everyday person. So 2 different podcasts. I encourage my listeners to go check that out. It's good stuff. So I'm definitely consuming a lot of those. When I first found your stuff, I mean, I was literally like one after the other, after the other, after the other. I was like, wow, this is so cool. Good stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. That means the world. It puts gas in my tank, man. 100%.
Sure. So let's talk about the investigator then. So when do you find the need to reach out to a private investigator? Talk me through some scenarios where it's come in handy and you've actually had some success doing them.
Okay, so 3 instantly come to mind. Anything around stalkers, our clients they have stalkers, and so for us to really do start to conduct what I like to refer to as offensive security operations, that's where we start to reach out to a private investigator to kind of, hey, what can we do? Do we put surveillance on this person? What's actionable? Can we start keeping tabs on them? How much can we start running an open source intelligence investigation on them and start compiling information to get us a better foothold if we do have to do something, and so we know who we're looking for, find out their motivations, all that good stuff. So there is such a need for relationships between executive protection and private investigators. And then that ends up rolling into law enforcement contacts that you should have relative to your environment and your clients and all those different things. Yeah. So the stalker world, which is a world you guys exist in already all the time, is one major one. Another major one is just when you start having weird contacts where you need plates to get looked at and things like that, it's just suspicious person of interest activity happening on or around your property. And you need someone to start looking into the information you're able to pull from that experience there. That's another time we'll reach out to our PI contacts. You get a plate, you get a description, you get a vehicle. And it's almost like they're our intel wing, and they help consolidate and make sense of a lot of the information that we out in the field pull it's almost like we're the grunts and you guys are the intelligence officers, so that's something whenever we have a person of interest and we have a weird contact and we're trying to start to build a case around it or understand what's going on, or a few weird contacts. That's another, which could be also a stalker. And then the other time that we reach out to PIs is when, and this happens a lot around the celebrity, acting, singing talent, place of worship centric protection, is when you start getting weird packages, weird mail, weird, that's another place where you find people that you have to look into almost quite frequently. We have a saying, the bright light attracts the bugs, you know what I'm saying? So, there you go. You might have a person that means well, but is really believes what they believe, and what they believe could cause them to do things that you can't allow to have happen on your watch. So that's where I usually see our relationships with PIs start to really get leveraged, and local law enforcement.
So I think some of the guys in EP that I have relationships with where I'll get the phone call on would be if the talent wants to hire somebody to come work for them, whether it be a hairdresser or a nanny or whatever, where they want to be like, okay, I have a certain amount of access to get info, but I know this is your wheelhouse and I'm going to call you and would you please do due diligence on this person, right? So, that's been one of the things that I've seen happen. I had one instance where there was somebody on a set who was driving a vehicle for the production company and had an accident. They had a little whoopsie. So,
oh man, bad time and place.
Yeah,
You know?
it was actually a big whoopsie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
it was like, helping them navigate through that space and what that looked like. And finding out that, hey, this guy, had some issues in the past too, and it's something that should have been caught. And it wasn't
like it's a pattern now.
right. And it wasn't like my guy hired that person. This was somebody that was hired by the production company. Like nobody did background on this guy. And it was a problem that was waiting to happen. So I've seen instances like that where that's helped out. And even, like you said, the grunt work and all that, and doing the pre-investigative work to set you guys up for a win, right? We want to make you look good. We want you to succeed in what you're doing. When you have that relationship where you're out in the field and maybe you don't have the access to get what you need right away, to have that intel available, is definitely something that I think works really, really well. I've seen that work very, very well, actually, both before and during an operation. Just being able to have that access, I think, is something that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, man. Anytime I can get my guys info, and the quicker the PI, the better when it comes to just getting as much info as possible. Because if I have a contact at, say, my front gate in the morning, or I want to be able to get my guys that information out in the field that's going to make them most effective at recognizing and qualifying a threat before anything happens, and understand what the kind of the ideological backstory is on that threat as well, which you can get a lot of that from the open source stuff.
Yep.
You can pop over to somebody's social media, that stuff. But
you gotta be careful though.
Yeah, you do.
Don't ask, don't tell, buddy.
Yeah. Well, this isn't live. Feel free to edit me, but yeah, man. So being able to hand my guys an intel packet on somebody and get them good quality, like warm information when they're going out on an op with a client, or while they're out there shooting it over to them digitally is such an advantage. Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing when it works right and everybody's doing their, what they need to do. It's almost like we are setting you guys up for a win. We are making sure that you can do what you can do. And one hand washes the other, right? We want you to get that call again. We want you to service that client again. We want you to get that account. And then we want to be able to provide the support for that account. And I've developed some strong relationships with some guys in EP that do that. I've seen some bigger investigation companies that do both, right? They've got one department and then the other department. And those are the guys that are extremely successful. I mean, like all over the world, they've got things there. It's pretty impressive when you see it working and doing all that stuff. So, so we're gonna jump out real quick, and then when we come back in, I want to talk a little bit about your training and some of the other things that you work, and then we're gonna get back into that topic of working together and talk about some of your real life experiences and doing what you're doing. So everybody sit tight, and we will be right back. Are you using a case management system? The answer is no. You should really rethink that process. All right. So as you guys know, Crosstracks has been an amazing sponsor of the show. They've just been really supportive. As you guys also know, I didn't used to have a case management system. I was the investigator that was fighting them tooth and nail. I finally decided to give it a whirl. What a great decision, right? During the COVID shutdown, I was able to actually roll my whole business into it and get completely up and running. And my clients love it. I mean, just today, I got a phone call from a client of mine who just couldn't believe how easy it was to access everything and how invoices were there. He actually asked me to go back and upload all my prior cases and put it into Crosstracks. I've been doing business with that firm for, about 8 years, so it's a lot of cases. Yeah, if you don't use a case management system, you should, right? You should check it out. Give Crosstracks a shot. Contact Brad or one of the teammates over there, and they'll get you up and running with a trial and see if it's for you. If you have used Crosstracks and it's been a while and you're not happy with the system that you're in, go check them out. They're doing a lot of really cool new things, and see if it's right for you. If you're unhappy with the system that you're in right now, contact them. The ability for them to roll your system into their system is very easy. Again, you guys know they've been sponsoring this program, and I can't say enough good things about them, but make your own decision, right? Give it a shot on your own and see if it's right for you.
What do you do when you get calls for bug sweeps? Did you know USABugsweeps.com, the #1 TSCM provider in the country, pays you a 20% commission for converted sales leads? Stop turning money away. USABugSweeps.com uses top-rated technology, and they cover all of the United States. So save time and make money today. Contact USABugSweeps.com and mention PIP20. Have you signed up for Investigator's Toolbox yet? What are you waiting for? Don't miss out. The legacy discount is ending soon, and you'll miss a great opportunity. Are you serious about growing your business and increasing your knowledge base? Well, register today at investigators-toolbox.com and use code PIP20-1836 and save an extra $15.
And welcome back to PI Perspectives. We are here today with Byron Rodgers, Bravo Research Group, I guess is the official name of the business, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Good.
Sir.
Good. So, well, welcome you back to the program. You are the executive protection guru from the West Coast, and
Thank you. I don't know about all that. I'm trying.
Right. Or at least you have some really good marketing. I got to give it to you that way.
Yeah, right.
And that's the thing I think is so cool, right? Because obviously you served and you've got some experience in the industry, but I feel like you're still cutting your teeth on that. And yet you have such amazing experience, right? And I think one of the things that's really cool is that you have this training day, this executive protection training day program where you're mentoring other EP guys or people that are looking to get into that industry or maybe expand on what they're doing, become better at what they're doing. Talk to me a little bit about how you came up with that idea and what that looks like.
Awesome. So like you said, I was I've been in this industry since '08. Got in when I was 21, and I didn't go to a training course until for the first 5, 6, 7 years of my career. But I was on that detail. Like I said, we started with 13 people. We traveled more than the president of the United States. We hit 60 some odd countries within almost the first year. And then it wasn't like an acting, singing talent type of person. It was a person that always traveled and always had venues year round. There was no on and off. Right. There was no on and off season like a lot of guys do with touring. It was just, we're on. I was here working. I would come home for like a week, maybe a week and a half max per month, and then we just lived on the road. Right. So for me, it was like growing up in dog years, learning to drink out of a fire hose. And then when I finally went and started getting executive protection training, because I was like, man, I've been doing this and executing on it and surviving the game. And, guys that are way more qualified than me have fallen all around me. And, I'm not the biggest, baddest, sexiest, or best, but like, I'm still here. How is this? Obviously the grace of God, but how is this working and how is this happening? And I started going to courses and start learning from, the people that are running courses. And I started to realize, well, that's not really applicable to, some of it was not really applicable to like the real one-man private security detail, two-man private security detail. So what I started to think to myself is, I need a course. And this is what would happen is I'd get guys on my detail and they would be all top of the line, well-trained, special forces, Secret Service, Jedi warriors and stuff. Right. And I'd be like, listen, man, this is how you survive here. And I would start teaching them about social dynamics. And I'd start teaching them like these down and dirty kind of guerrilla warfare tactics for really actually surviving the executive protection industry. Not the stuff that briefs well, right. Not the stuff that, the State Department does, but the stuff that like in private security, when it's just you, because that's all your client wants to hire and maybe one other guy, what are you going to do? Yeah. So I started really looking at that, and that's kind of what sparked it. So guys would get in the chase and I would be like, hey, this is essentially like your training day, like the movie Training Day, like, this is your training day, officer work. Right. I thought we were going to the office. You're in the office. You're in the chase with me. And I would just be laying it out. And then I also looked at the way executive protection is being taught. And I remember going to a course and then evolving in my career and being like, oh, I was taught once upon a time how to do this. But like, where's that information when I need it now? Where's the information now that I'm doing these tasks? Well, hopefully I took good notes. My instructors are back there at school. And so what I really tried to do is develop a new way of teaching executive protection and having it be more effective. So my guys, or the people that join me in the League of Executive Protection Specialists, we do our careers together. So you get you don't have to stop working, so you don't have to lose money for a week. You don't have to travel, so you don't lose more money. You don't have to get room and board. You get the course right to you in your living room, in your computer, and you get trained. You always have that training. You can always revert back to that training, and I upgrade that training constantly, so that it is relevant. Because I'm not a made man. I'm not a trainer.
Right.
I'm like a field agent. You know what I'm saying? And then I go into the group. You become part of a special group called the League of Executive Protection Specialists.
Yes.
And I train with everybody on a weekly, bi-weekly basis. And I'm in there answering questions, helping people with their little sticking points. And you continue to get value from this course. This course will do more for you during your time in this industry than any other course that you're ever going to take, because I stay with you, and you get a sphere of relationships. So everyone in the course is now trying to help you. You're trying to help them, because the more people we have in powerful and successful positions in the industry, the more brand equity we have as a League of Executive Protection Specialists.
Exactly.
So it becomes, everything good and bad in your life will come through relationships. So the relationships you get and support you get, in my opinion, is bar none. Yeah,
no, you're absolutely right. And I'm familiar with that because you talk about it, and even some of your podcast episodes are that, fly on the wall. So here's Matt, a fly on the wall in those meetings that you have, weekly with your team there. And it's amazing. It's amazing to see that happen. I think it's such a benefit. And the fact that you take the time to do that is amazing. It's really, really cool.
I'm slammed sometimes, and I'm like, man, how am I going to get this meeting in? Then I get it in, and then I stay there for like an hour and a half, because it's like the most amazing thing I've done all week.
Byron won't leave.
It's like it's a fan, and there's Zoom meetings. We're having conversations, and the other thing is just like this, and the other thing is too, like what was I going to say? It'll come back to me. It'll come back to me. But the point is, you get relationships. You get ongoing support, and that, I think, will ensure success much more than just learning content once and then being left alone in the industry and being expected to be successful after that.
Yeah, and you've done like seminars, like training of like actual real time training events, like day long things, right? I think I saw that as well, right? You've put together programs like that.
So the Protector Nation is what I'm rolling out right now, around civilian-centric protection, helping civilians become willing, capable, and prepared. And out of that has come the Protector Symposiums. And now I may or may not have something else coming up called the Hard Skills Intensive. Keep your eyes open.
Exclusive here.
Nice. Yeah, that's pretty exclusive. I don't think I've really spoken about that one yet.
All right, cool.
But keep your eyes open for that. And both of them are just things I've not seen in the industry, but ways to help anyone, regardless of their background, elevate their protection game in a very short amount of time, and so that's very exciting as well. So I want to make America a better place and a safer place by helping good people become more willing, capable, and prepared to deal with danger, to deal with evil. Because that's how we're going to stay safe.
Yeah, and that's the world we live in, right? So it's very timely having this stuff, right? I mean, COVID has really just turned this country upside down. There's been a lot of crazy stuff that's been going on. So how has COVID affected your business model?
Two ways. So I have two different kind of really on what we were talking about. I have for the Protector Symposium, I had 250 people at the first one, and then COVID struck right before I launched the second one, and so I'm like, everybody was like, "Oh no, what are we gonna do?" And I'm like, "Oh, what am I gonna do?" And I the idea, by the grace of God, comes to me. Take it digital, do a digital global summit with it. Talk to my team about it. We executed on it, and basically doubled our numbers from the first live event. Amazing. So the second live event, by the grace of God, was double. And it was absolutely amazing. And that is live. People can go and get it anytime they want by going to the website. The way it impacted my private security career is that all of the contracts and activities I had that were gathering centric, places of worship, anything that was acting and singing talent stuff, all that stuff.
Still gone.
definitely just got shut down.
Yeah, still gone.
Droughts, man. It was tough. Like, I mean, it's a great percentage of the industry. Like I've heard like 40% of the industry, possibly. Now, everything that is client centric, as in my families, high net worth families and things like that, really primarily the families and things like that, have really they've elevated themselves. They've wanted to elevate their game. Corporate structures also has wanted more guard services, but they, now they're paying a pretty penny for it. You're getting executive protection guys that are like, I'll come down.
They're all fighting
we'll
over
take a look at protecting this facility for a night. Don't got to deal with a client. You know what I mean? Which is great dealing with clients. Clients are awesome. But sometimes protecting goods and services is also, depending on what you're into, but so I saw certain aspects of the industry become elevated and more secure. I saw certain aspects of the industry go into droughts. You have to have a diversified client.
Yeah, I think, the folks that know how to pivot like that, they're the ones that are going to survive this, and it's going to mean a big market share for them when unfortunately the ones that don't survive or decide they just don't want to do it anymore. There's some real opportunities there, definitely.
100%, and it's like like I go back to relationships. One of the biggest things I teach and talk about is social dynamics and relationships, and being able to manufacture, procure highly valuable relationships around a specific topic or around what it is you do, and being able to be genuine in those and contribute to those so they're reciprocal and healthy. Right. This is one of the most valuable things I think I can contribute to most professionals. And that's what the proof is in the pudding really saved me and my company during the pandemic. And yeah, man, big.
So I think what we're going to do here is we're going to take one more break. And when we come back, we're going to jump into some more real life experiences, and we'll talk about what happened in Colorado too. So I want to get into that. So everybody sit tight.
Delve Point keeps on advancing. The commonality search is here. The new data is unlike anything they currently offer, and will go in depth into your target's assets and relationships. Use them on everything from jury research and associate connections to business investigations and fraud cases. You don't want to miss these. Visit delvepoint.com for more details. Sign up and use code PIP20 for additional savings. Do you work with an insurance agency that takes the time to give you the personal attention you deserve? Contact Michelle Knoll and her team to get the best customer service and attention available. You never need insurance until you really need insurance. So keep yourself and your business protected. Contact Michelle at mknoll@amoscorp.com. Links in the description. Did you hear about the latest issue of PI Magazine? Well, check out the cover feature on the Investigator's Toolbox, available today.
And welcome back. We're here on PI Perspectives. Today we have Byron Rodgers from the Bravo Research Group, and we've been talking about a lot of really cool stuff today. So Byron, again, I want to welcome you back to the program, and just I appreciate you coming on and giving us your perspective today.
Hey, it's an honor to be on here with you. It's an honor that people reach out to me and give me these opportunities to try to contribute. Tumbling. Thank you so much for having me, Matt.
Yeah, you're welcome. I appreciate it. You're welcome. So we've covered a couple of the things that you've done, some of your projects and things like that. I want to shift a little bit to something that just literally just happened. And there was a shooting in Colorado with a hired security guard, and now there's some issues coming up with the background on that particular security guard as to whether or not they were vetted properly. So talk to me a little bit about, in your industry, like what is the standard procedure on doing that, and what are some of the things, the red flags that you got to look for?
Essentially, really what we're looking for is judgment. Judgment. So you're trying to form and understand the pattern of the person's judgment over the course of their life in order to be able to project with some degree of at least comfort, knowing you don't have a crystal ball, that person's going to be reliable and be able to make decisions on behalf of your brand and your client's brand that are going to help contribute to the overall mission, right? So a two-layer approach is ideal. You want to run a background check on that individual. You want to ask your PIs to look into it, like we were talking about earlier.
Sure.
That's probably that's like what you need a PI on your team in executive protection. And, like those two roles, the stalker situation and the looking into people's background situation that you're thinking of working with, hiring, and I'm talking about everything from, was I talking with you about this or someone else about, but every auxiliary position in and around the client, there should be a background check done on those people. So
Absolutely.
background checks
Yep.
and open source intelligence deep dive into their behavior,
Sure.
and looking for any anomalies or interesting behavior there that would suggest that maybe this person doesn't have the best decision-making ability. Beyond that, I mean, and it's something I teach and talk about all the time in training day. It's like, look, man, your LinkedIn is really your resume. Like your social media
Really is.
digital footprint
Yep.
really is your resume. Like you can give them the piece of paper if you want. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's a data point. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But if you really want to be dynamic in this workplace, you got to think about your entire digital package. So yeah, not just a background check, but also going into the open source stuff.
Sure.
I think is really crucial. Because the resume is honeymoon phase stuff.
Yeah.
That's their representative. That
Sure.
ain't them.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, man. Save a tree. Don't send a resume.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can think of a situation where I was helping somebody out, and we had one of these issues with the auxiliary, and it was the hairdresser. Hairdresser was feeding information to the paparazzi like you wouldn't believe, and it's just hey, you did not do your due diligence on it, and you paid the price on it, or even the monitoring. Right? It's not even the due diligence. There should be monitoring in place where you're watching these people as well, right? That's another aspect
100%.
to it, right?
You want to be able to see what the enemy can see at all times. So monitoring your client's social media, just in case they do decide to do a little live while you're out at lunch, or while you guys are on that trip, and they're like by the beach in Mykonos, Greece right now. You want to know when that stuff happens.
Sure.
Because it changes the battlefield really quickly. You're like, all of a sudden you're like in a zombie movie and everyone starts like looking in at you and you're like, why is everyone, we were doing so good, So yeah, man. And additional to that is monitoring everyone, even the guys in the security team, various levels of maturity, various levels of, I would say like professional character. One guy might be totally immune to the fact that, he drives a chase Lamborghini behind the client and doesn't really care if he's been in the game long enough. He's like, yeah, it's like what I do, whatever. You get another guy in the detail on there, and all of a sudden there's selfies in the Lamborghini that start popping up, or, that guy goes with the client to a rock concert where, the guy's been cool, but he just really likes this band. And now he's popping off selfies are starting to pop up and things like that. So really keeping an eye on, and inside the team accountability as well, everyone knowing that I'm a Marine, so I'm all about the shame culture.
Sure, yeah.
You don't want to bring
yes, sir.
Shame to our name. I'm all about it. There are certain systems inside my security detail where like literally if you mess it up, every time we do it right, we put a mark on the board. We see how long the streak we got. And if you mess it up, we zero out all the marks and your name goes on the board.
You're
and
done.
we call it the name of shame.
Name of shame, right?
Man, and it's up there till someone else does it.
Yeah.
Because that stuff works, man. It works.
It totally does.
Be that guy.
Totally does. So let me ask you a question. Do you guys use like a case management system when you have something open for like each client that you represent and service?
That's we do, not like a formal service or a formal system, but we have everything filed and organized.
Sure.
In a like an external, like not an external drive, but a digital drive where it's all safe protected. So every time we get a bolo, everything having to do with that bolo, be on the lookout for if anyone is not familiar with that term.
Sure.
Weird contact with weird person who says weird thing, or someone on social media that threatens.
Yep.
Client or something, right? That's a bolo or a suspicious vehicle, anything like that. That happens. We start to run an investigation. If it's significant enough, we have our private investigators help us with that investigation, and everything that we have around that situation gets cataloged in our bolo catalog and filed and saved, because you never know when you're gonna have to come back to those data points to make sense of what you're seeing out in the field.
No, you're right. I mean, I recently implemented a management system for my own business, and it was a game changer for me. You know, just being able to keep notes and stand on top of things, and even opening files up to other investigators that I have working on the case, where they can, you know, now we're file sharing. It's real easy, and I know who's looking at what, and keeping track of expenses and costs and things like that. Really, it's a game changer, man. It's really. Really good stuff. I was curious. The reason I was asking is because within that system, we've got a rating for our contractors as well. So we can basically put notes on them, 5-star, 4-star. Here's some of the problems. Like, don't use this guy again, you know, and
That's good.
And what's cool is it keeps track of his certifications or her certifications, and it lets you know when they expire. So, you know, that's another thing too. So yeah, it's kind of a game changer. I was curious about that. So one of the other things that I've seen, and I don't know how you affect it, or if even you want to comment on this, but it's something I've come across. You have talent, and the talent wants you to do something, but the talent is like, we're not paying for this. The studio's paying for it. And then having that back and forth of trying to be the middle person and get them what they want, yet stay within budget of what's available. Have you come across that before?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, don't answer. Tread lightly, buddy.
And honestly, I know, right? I'll tell you how I approach things like that. The first time I'll do it on good faith.
Sure.
And I will completely, and I mean, if it's beyond, I'm willing to lose whatever it is that they're saying they're going to pay me. I'll do it on good faith.
Right.
And then as long as it's not like a, monumental task,
right.
We're getting to social dynamics here a little bit.
Sure.
And when the studio doesn't pay or the corporate doesn't pay for whatever reason, and that if I find myself in that crazy 8 of he needs to pay you,
right.
Then it's, I did it once. And I'm sure you can understand, sir or ma'am, I because I haven't been compensated in the past, until I'm compensated for that. I don't think that it's wise that I do that again for you.
Right.
I then have an easy out when I get asked again. And then also I have relationship equity in that they know in the back of their minds I did the right thing for them, and
Sure.
It didn't compensate me. And so with some people that goes a long way. With some people that could be the difference between you losing the contract and not losing the contract.
Sure.
If you make a mistake,
Yep.
them knowing that they need to do right by you, so
Yeah.
I just look at it as relationship equity until if I see a pattern of them not paying or something weird like that starts to happening.
Sure.
It starts happening, then we go on ahead and we.
So I'm sure you probably have like retainers and all that stuff too, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I like to see retainers.
I'm sure you that's one of the things you probably teach in your school, right? When telling people how to get into this business, what to do, make sure that you have the paper behind it to support you. And that handshake
Absolutely.
will only take you so far in the court
Absolutely.
of law,
Yeah. Get your paperwork right. Go for a retainer. I like to see 50%, depending on what the detail is, depending on how long it is up front. And that gives you operating capital as well for Murphy, who likes to show up with an ice pick and a baseball bat, chainsaw sometimes.
I know that guy in New York.
Yeah, exactly. And also when speaking with clients, a big one is helping them understand how expensive it can be, because on your first meeting with them, they'll be like, I want helicopters and I want undercover clowns with guns and
Right.
tanks
Right.
and all kinds of stuff. And you're like, okay. And then you move north, you call everyone, you're like, this is going to be the most, make this detail right here. And you build it up. And the next thing you know, you get to the client and you're like, all right, it's game day. This is how much the bill is. And they're like asking you for like a dude and a short dude because he should be less expensive.
Yeah.
And like bicycles, security bicycles. You know what I'm saying? I know I said tanks, but I think we only need bicycles. Like, I think you're doing that thing and you're like looking at him, and all your buddies are in the back with, the mini guns and the helicopters.
Sure.
And like,
Put the 50 cal away. He's not paying for it.
yeah. And you're just like, it didn't work out. And everyone's like, and then they're less responsive next time you need them to jump. So
Sure. I felt like you were just describing an Adam Sandler movie for a second. All those things you said that was going to happen.
Right. Yeah, man.
Oh man, that's funny. That's really good. I mean, I'm sure you've seen all different types of things, right? And you got to be ready for anything, right?
100%.
And I'm sure you've probably come across this too, right? Because I've definitely come across it where, you provide a certain level of service and you're known for it, but then all of a sudden there's a position change, a new CEO comes in or a CFO comes in and says, I got to reevaluate everything. And now you're basically re-interviewing for your job. And they're like, you know what, we're going to go with somebody else. And that lasts for, I don't know, 3 or 4 months before they realize that they're not getting the same level of service that they used to get, right? And all of a sudden they're coming back to you saying, hey, are you free? We need you, right?
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. And that's the thing, man. When you have that level of service and you're consistent on it. That's the other thing that's really important. Consistency. Don't go in for that big, I'm going to hit him for the big job because I know this is a big budget and, I'll get mine now. Don't do that. Be consistent with your billing. That's the other thing too. I like to preach to people.
Yeah, man, build your equity, build relationship capital and equity with them as a professional. Now, I remember reading something a while back that said the industry would double in size in the next decade. I think it's going to be bigger than that, given all the different little cultural tectonic plates and shifts that are taking place in American culture with regards to like the destabilization of things people never thought could be destabilized. Right,
our country.
So the industry,
pretty much.
Our country. Dun, dun, dun. Aliens are coming. 2020 ain't over yet. Anyways, so I'm sitting here and I'm watching these shifts happen. LA is opening up, giving CCW. So I think our industry is going to be saturated with fresh agents and people that do or don't know what they're doing, do or don't know how to charge for our services. We're going to go through a little bit of some type of renaissance with regards to the new demand. During the riots, I was so in demand, I had to give work to other people because my company couldn't handle it. I was getting called every single day. Hey, I need a 4-man team here. Hey, I need 2 guys here. How quickly can you get someone here type of thing? Like I almost had to go into a QRF type of format. I say all that to say, and it's something big that I teach professionals how to do because I met so many professionals, great people.
Right.
They have no network. They don't know how to market themselves. They're not dynamic in the workplace, in the industry. And so they starve, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, as this continues to evolve, you need to learn how to build your own brand. Not like me, not like Mr. Loud, guy in the ring guy. You don't need to be like me. But I'm just saying, how do you professionally market yourself? Because I really believe things are going to start getting saturated. And, the things that we've done, executive protection and your private investigator work, it's been a real silent professional type of game for a long time.
Yep.
But I really believe that now that people are starting to look for alternative vocations rather than just law enforcement, because law enforcement was the gold standard. We were all like, I don't want to use the term not purebreds, but you know what I mean? I feel like the law enforcement guys were, the cool kids, and I got a badge, and you guys just almost like wannabes, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But now, all that heat that they're taking, I'm seeing an exodus from law enforcement into private security.
Sure.
And I'm sure that stuff's happening in your industry.
Yep.
So now everybody, and as we kind of touched on, everybody thinks they can just cross right on over it and do what we do the way we do it. And so having that work product, having that experience, knowing what you're doing and not compromising on your value and your prices is going to become very important.
Absolutely.
If you do that, you're going to start lowering it for everybody.
Oh yeah, totally. I think you brought up some really good points here, right? Yeah, no, they're good. It's valid. So yeah, there is that X's. I agree with you the same way, right? So it's that I'm so sick and tired and fed up of being law enforcement. I'm going to put my time, my papers in, and that's it. I'm done, right? So you got a lot of that happening in New York. I mean, just the NYPD, the guys that have put in for retirement. I mean, it's crazy and scary how they've done it. Defunded. Yeah, and the thing is, the thing you got to be careful of, and I've hired ex law enforcement, is you got to unteach habits, right? Sometimes and you'll see the guys that transition. One of the biggest things they say is, I used to get this information with just a phone call. I don't understand why I can't get it anymore. It's like, you got to figure it out, buddy. It's like, there's different ways.
Ain't there no more, buddy.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
And, showing up to an apartment building, kicking down the door and being obnoxious to somebody, you're not going to get answers that way. It's like, you need to understand the situation and how to talk to people, with kids gloves, and really understand that you're impeding on someone's, space, and you need them to help you. There's none of that bullying going on. And that's not everybody. Occasionally you'll get somebody with that attitude and it's like, all right, this is not a good fit. Like, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
I've come across that too, but I think you're right. I think there's going to be a huge influx of people that need this instruction. And they're going to be hungry for it too, because, they know they need to survive to, figure out how to do things. So yeah, I think that's wisdom there.
The wise ones are going to be hungry for it.
Yep.
There's going to be so many of them that are like, I can do this. This is easy. Because I deal with it with the military guys and the law enforcement guys. Sure. Military guys like me are like, yo, like I fought in a war. Like, I've led men in combat. I can, protect a client, like chill out. But there's a finesse to this game.
Oh, absolutely.
If you don't understand it, will not thrive. You'll be a guy that I would go into a house with. I take you on, we could kick indoors together, but I know you're just not going to be able to survive in this game. Right. And then the law enforcement guys, and then there's cognitive dissonance around getting bored that military guys have to deal with, as their ideas of the game clash with the reality of the game. Yeah. There's highs and lows in our game. Yeah. Really high highs, really boring lows. Yeah. And then the law enforcement guys are like, yo, I'm like, homie, you have nothing but social dynamics to get the little lady at the front desk at the FBO, flight-based operations, private jet airport, to let you get tarmac access. And if you can't figure it out, your client just won't get that quality of service. Yep. Nobody cares. It's true. No one cares how special forces you were. Right. You need to learn the social dynamics game to get it done. And if you try to do EP like the military and law enforcement, you're really not going to make it very long in the game. Yeah. That's the stuff I like to teach.
So I picked up that skill in the courthouses, right? So when before I even started my own business, I worked for an attorney and I had to do filings for the attorney, right? And you show up and it's like something wasn't right on the paperwork, and they can literally throw you out the door and say, sorry, buddy, you got to go back. Or they can say, if you take this one paper and put it on top of this other paper, I'll take it, right? Yeah, so you're good. You establish that relationship, right? And it got to the point where I wasn't even waiting on the lines. Hey, Matt's here. Come on in. Come on. Come in the back here. I'll take care of you, right? And it wasn't even that. It wasn't like I brought him donuts. It wasn't like I did anything special for him. I just treated the dude like a human being, Right. And I remember there was this one guy in the subpoena record room that was like this miserable dude, and everyone was always so mean to him, and he was like cranky and all that. And I killed that dude with kindness, man. And by the time he retired, I was so upset he retired because I fostered such a relationship with that guy. I could get whatever I wanted out of him. So it's there. It's true. That's a real thing, man. Social skills. I think you have a tagline I think is great, right? About hard skills and soft skills.
Yeah, man. Hard skills may save lives, but soft skills keep you in the game and get you paid, man.
Exactly.
That's the reality of it. Be the one person that person saw today that made them feel respected and put a smile on their face. If you can do that, I'm telling you, I don't care what color you are, orange, black, how old you are, little, small, whatever you're religious, you will go farther in life because relationships.
Yeah. I mean, and that's and no matter what you do, right? It doesn't have to be an investigator. It doesn't have to be a security guard. I mean, that's life skill right there, right? You just learn how to treat people the way they should be treated, and you'll go much further in life.
And you'll be happier.
Totally. It's very easy to get angry in this industry. Very, very easy. I've seen it, man. I've seen the groups of people just arguing about nonsense back and forth. It's crazy. So before we wind down here, I just want to touch on a couple things. So obviously the future and what's going to happen, right? COVID, nobody really knows, and then we're kind of finding our way back into things. But I think one of the other things, election has a big deal too, but the way the Data Privacy Act is going to be changing things, and that whole push for our industry, and it's going to bleed into your industry as well. The ability to get information on people, that potentially could be changing. It's really, really an issue of how information is sourced, and just understanding that, you have to have these soft skills, because when somebody turns off that great database that you're using and you can no longer use it, where are we going to get it? And those database companies, are they creative enough to source their information from other places? Because that's really what I see in the future. What are some of the things that you see coming down the line and you're in that, are something that you're keeping your eye on and a little concerned about?
Well, really in my world, things that I would be concerned about is going to be the influx of new agents into the industry and how that's going to affect it. I think that being able to frame yourself as a specialist rather than a generalist in the executive protection industry is going to be extremely important. That's why I teach it, because I think that's going to be the survival of many good people in our industry. I think that with all of the different kind of destabilization things that we see coming down the line in our culture, I think the private security industry is going to see a lot of growth. I find it really interesting that this industry is evolving at the speed of light. There almost seem to be a new client demographic or client segment or aspect of private security that is they just pop up overnight. A few years ago, the church protection game blew up, then we had the green rush around marijuana. And now we got, and now we have biochemical protection measures, and we got everyone digging into open source stuff. It's like, no matter what you are, who you are, there's a place in private security for you if you can just see the trends and really figure out how you want to evolve with it,
Right.
And where you can fit into the evolution of it, I should say. So that's really kind of what I see in our industry. I feel like it's a really great industry. There's not too much of it that can be replaced by technology, which is a threat to a lot of industries.
Sure.
But I also see that there are so many technological advances that are taking place that, if you're the type of guy that likes to be behind a computer, you can still be extremely combat effective in the fight of protecting somebody, like ridiculously. So you're right there for it.
That's that was my next question and the next point I wanted to make, right? So things like facial recognition software, like that can either be a game changer for you guys or it could be problematic depending on how you approach it, right? AI replacing, operatives and things like that. Like these are things that potentially could be coming down and, just being able to understand that. I mean, I think one of the other challenges too that I'm seeing is this whole AI idea that they're creating videos, like just taking images and creating this video that's not real. And being able to authenticate it as a real video or not is something that's an issue. Wow. So that's
a big issue.
It's a problem that's coming down. Like producing a video and saying, "Here, look, this shows you doing this or doing that," but it's all completely false. That's one of the things that if you listen to Michael Bazell and things like that, like that's what they're talking about. And this type of stuff is right around the corner, and I think it's something that you're going to have to be aware of too. If you've got a client of yours that, now there's production of a video out there and it's not really them, like how do you prevent that? I
think, and that's one of the things we do is we try to protect the reputation. It's another layer of protection we need to offer.
Yeah.
And I think one of the scariest things about that is just simply that because the public is so educated by television and, I've had a case with a client where the news legitimately just decided to say something about him, like literally was like, this is a perfect fall guy.
Yeah.
This is the fall guy.
Yep.
And they just aired this whole story that was like 10% truth.
Yeah.
And it completely put this person in a whole nother category of our American culture.
Yep.
And you can't sue the news outlet because their businesses are categorized as entertainment outlets like WWF.
Exactly.
And the problem with this is most Americans read maybe one book ever after high school, which is not even an education.
Sure.
And they genuinely believe and it's not even up to them. Yeah. Your brain, your subconscious mind, right? Masters in psychology, forensic psychology, like this is kind of something I'm passionate about, right?
Right.
Your subconscious mind is recording everything that you experience all the time. It's trying to look for this experiential learning that's going to make you more effective. Yeah. People don't realize that TV to them is like their number one form of learning. And so I ran into this problem where I had a client who was made to look a certain way on TV, and we're like, we'll fix it. We got plenty of media outlets. We'll get him on these different shows and these different things. And from his mouth, we'll just, we will tell the truth and everyone will understand. No one believed him. And there was nothing they could do. Everyone was like, no way. I seen it on the news. It's got to be true.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And literally, so now you can say almost anything you want in the news.
Right.
And, the general public, like zombies
Yeah.
will believe it.
Yeah.
And that can create really high quality problems, because the issue we were having is what they accused him of. Could it just multiplied the amount of people that would want to do the client harm.
Sure.
And so we were in a less safe world, because the media was just like, you did this. You're like, whoa, no charges were brought against him.
Yeah.
Nothing in real life, just completely in the theater of the media. So
Well, I mean,
what you're talking about is a quality issue.
Yeah. I mean, listen, and I think the whole Me Too movement kind of started that. And it's, there were plenty of legitimate claims to that stuff. But man, in my industry, you had guys that were getting hired to disprove, this stuff, and they were disproving things. There were a lot of things that were not, legit. And they're just people just getting on the bandwagon saying, oh, I can throw my name in there too. A half truth happened over here, but I can embellish it a little bit and ride along. And you saw a lot of that stuff.
Cares.
Yeah, nobody cares.
You disprove it and nobody cares.
Right, exactly.
And the guy's scarred for life, and everybody's just like, hey, you want some ice cream? Like, nobody cares.
Exactly.
It's crazy, man.
Exactly. Well, hey, Byron, we're going to wind down here. I feel like we could probably do another hour, and yeah, I would love to do that. But we'll have you back on again at some point, because I do want to talk about the House of Worship stuff. You've got like 10 million ways to get in touch with you. So why don't you tell folks how they can find you, and what's the best way?
Thank you, brother. Thank you once again for having me. It's been an honor, Matthew.
Sure.
ByronRodgers.com, RODGERS, ByronRodgersMotivation.com, same place. My flow of content generally comes through Instagram first, but I blast it on all the different channels. I've got a Patreon, but I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. If you're trying to get in the executive protection industry, join me in the Executive Protection Training Day Success Package. That's executiveprotectiontrainingday.com. If you're a civilian that wants to learn how to protect yourself and your family better, and you want to learn from people at the top of the game, go on ahead over to protectorsymposium.com. And very soon you'll see the Protector Nation roll out with more training and stuff like that. But to find everything, ByronRodgersMotivation.com or ByronRodgers.com, or follow me on IG at Blasted Other too.
Yeah, man, it's been great stuff. I really appreciate you coming on and talking about it. And man, you just have so much knowledge to drop on everybody. And I encourage folks to check it out. If you're in the EP line, this is definitely someone you want to pay attention to and kind of hook up with and network, right? We always talk about networking, how important that is. It's always better to know the guy than be the guy, right? That's what my friend Jim says that all the time. It's good stuff. So I'm going to hit you for a quote, because you always hit people for a quote before they even go. So give me something, man. Give me some knowledge.
Quote. I love quotes. I study quotes. I've taken a lot of them with me, but the one quote I think the one quote that has been the most powerful in my life, and I wish it was more eloquent, because I know some eloquent ones, but the one that's been the best is, yo, there ain't nothing to it but to do it, baby. Ronnie Coleman, man, ain't nothing to it but to do it,
That's good
you
stuff,
can be as smart as you want, homie, but until you do the thing, in order to be the man, you got to become the man. You got to be the man.
There you go. There you go. Well, Byron, thank you so much. It's so great to actually turn the tables and interview you, because you're always interviewing people. And I feel like folks kind of get your story, but don't get the whole story. So that's why I was so hungry to get out and chat with you, man. So this has been great. And I know we're networking here now, because I feel like now I got a friend out in California again. So that's good stuff, man. So thanks, everyone, for tuning in. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode.
These guys had a lot to talk about. Wow. We look forward to having Byron back again. His podcast, Executive Protection Lifestyle, is featured on the InvestigatorSToolbox.com podcast network. Check his show out. Find Byron on LinkedIn and on Instagram. If you do executive protection or have thoughts about getting into that line of work, you should reach out to him. We thank Amos, Crosstracks, Delve Point, and USABugSweeps.com for sponsoring the show. Now, have you checked out the Investigator's Toolbox yet? Remember, it only takes 41 cents a day to unlock the future of investigations. Make an investment in your business and yourself today. The 25% legacy discount won't last long. Use code PIP201836 to save even more. If you got a question or comment about the show, email Matt at matthews@satellitepi.com. You can also find him on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. We'd love to get your feedback. We'll see you next Monday with a new show. Make sure you tune in. Stay safe out there, everyone.